Good evening, guys. Uh, today, you know, Michelle from California has posted a write-up in LinkedIn. Okay, and she has written in a message in a scenario where the world is going through a different kind of crisis in terms of medical, in terms of professional wise. What is the one most effective skill that leaderships do call for, or how do leaders cope with this stress? Because a lot of people who are handling teams are facing a lot of problems in terms of how to get back to their team, what kind of feedback to be given, how to communicate any um, reply which is not so very comfortable one. So, considering all those, I have written to Michelle already. Michelle, you have already acknowledged receiving my message. See, the same thing I would be discussing here. The one most crucial skill that leaders need to show at this time of crisis, I would believe, is it's a time. It's rather, let's put it this way: it's a time for adaptive leadership. Now, when we talk about adaptive leadership, what do we mean about it? See, we all know adaptability in terms of different aspects of life, whether it is climatic aspect, whether it is you know uh, work-wise, whether it is professional aspect. Now, adaptive leadership is, in very simple terms, if I say, it's a form of leadership wherein the leaders themselves are self-aware of the situation which is going on in true sense. What I mean is, they understand the gravity of the situation. They understand how it might be impacting the mentality of different team members in the same group. Also, he or she better understands how this crisis situation or the challenge or the difficult time is going to impact their own mentality. See, adaptability means moving along with the crisis, because see, whenever a crisis happens, whenever a change happens in any of our life, see, they are not going to come along with an announcement. It is coming suddenly. It is coming in our life suddenly, and it is always with a sudden aspect of surprise. We are never prepared. We can never be prepared for a surprise thing. A lot of people say we can speculate, we can have a calculative risk, we can have a calculative understanding of the situation which is going to prevail, but that is not enough. That is not really enough, because the whole dynamics of the world is changing in a different motion altogether. See, whether it is financial, whether it is global, whether it is environmental, whether it is socio-economic or political. See, coming back to adaptive leadership, see, adaptive leader is one who is not afraid of admitting the vulnerability. Okay. Second, an adaptive leader is not afraid of uh, responsibilities which would be coming along with the already responsibilities which the person is handling. So, adaptive leader is open towards taking up more responsibilities, understanding that this is the sole responsibility of the leader to take care of the team's mentality, of the team members' mental status. And the first and the most important characteristics of leader who is adaptive or adaptive leaders are, they are not afraid of approaching people who are knowledgeable on that particular aspect or on that particular field if they are not fully aware of the information. Like if they do not know something, they do not pretend to know that, or give a lame answer or give a vague answer to the team member with this thought that to word off the question. See, you cannot word off a question today. You cannot word off. A question which is word off once, twice, or thrice becomes a question of suspicion in the mind of your team members. Okay? And that question, when it comes down to you with a magnitude of cumulative feedback from your team member, well, that is something that is very difficult to be handled. So, what I would say is adaptive leaders are never afraid of approaching somebody who's knowledgeable on that same scenario or the subject. They are adaptive towards learning the probable solution which has already been applied and which probably have already solved the problem. They accept this fact that they do not know, but also they give a promise. It's like getting back to your team with this confidence that, well, I don't have the answer today to this question of yours, but I am going to find this answer for you. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to find the best answer, best solution towards your question, and I'm going to come back to you strong, with confidence, with all the information which is absolutely required for you to take a very constructive decision. See, adaptability is one of the most crucial skill that would be required once this lockdown period or the pandemic gets over, because nothing is going to be the same. To all my members who's in the career counseling group and all my friends who are watching this video right now, I would say, don't take it as something negative, but trust me, when the lockdown period or the pandemic is over, nothing is going to be the same. I was just having a conversation with my wife today evening only. See, the education system, for example, the education system is impacted highly by the lockdown period. Majority of the schools do not know how to conduct the session which is supposed to be started from April through a technology based platform, because online learning, online training, online uh, question and answer, and to learn something and go for a certification has always been taken up by very few who's looking to work on their skill sets, majorly technical. Majorly you will find a lot of people taking courses online on their respective subject. Okay, but the thing is, we as parents, we were never ready, apart from a very few, we were never ready to adapt to the technology platform wherein we can assure our children that if you even do not go to school, the session will continue. The learning curve will not go down. You will learn the subject. The only thing is the physical presence will not be there in your school, but you will be learning the subject. The session would not be hampered. Of late, every school is adapting to this technology platform. Even for my own word school, I have seen, the teachers are taking good initiative. They are recording classes. They are sending questionnaires. Even the physical instructor has sent, a video of different exercises which the students could do in their free time, which is a very good initiative. Now the thing is, we have been always hearing the BCP, the business continuity plan, in terms of organizational structure. But the BCP was never a term which was mandatorily included in the school curriculum. The schools or the educational institutions were never ready for this pandemic. So they couldn't cope up with the immediate impact. They first thought it was 7 days, it's going to get over with 10 days, it's going to get over with, lockdown version 1.0. Then came 2.0. Now the 3.0. So with the days being extended, the school even do not know how to impart the sessions education to their children. On the other hand, the parents are not also ready in terms of understanding how they can actually make their word study the course going through the technology platform. Coming back to the corporate sector, see, when you go back to your work, I can assure you one thing: nothing is going to be the same. The work culture, the work code of conducts, the code of conducts for work from home. Work from home is going to be the new norm. So the adaptability always comes. The adaptability always comes after a chaos. Sometimes it is good, but sometimes you pay a huge price because you are not ready. So adaptive leaders are those who are always ready to learn the new skills, to learn the new process, to learn the new demand of the time and get back to their team members. It is absolutely okay to not know something. It is absolutely okay if you, as a team manager or a director or a team head, you do not have the first hand information. That is very much possible that you do not have the first hand information right now from the management, because the management might be working on certain parameters, certain protocols to get back to you so that you can get back to your team with the correct information. In the meantime, when you are working, when you don't have a first hand information, how do you get back to your team? See, you cannot word of a question by not answering the phone, by not answering the email, by not replying to WhatsApp, whatsoever. You ultimately have to, because if you are not answering your email or the call or the WhatsApp, what would appear to your team is you are escapist. You are escaping your responsibility. So once everything resumes back, they will find it very difficult to follow a leader who has not been able to answer their queries, who has not been able to clarify their doubts at the time of a crisis. So adaptive leadership is the crucial leadership skill that would be required by the leaders, anybody who's handling a team, anybody who's working even on the personal ground, because the accountability level would be changing after this pandemic. You have to be accountable, you have to take up responsibility, you have to deliver, you have to contribute in a constructive way. Only then you can be considered in the game. It's not a warning, it's not a threat that you might be laid off, you might be asked to leave, you might be axed. But as I told in many of my videos, that contribution and accountability are going to be considered a primary aspect of every employee, be of any designation. So adaptive leadership is going to be the call of the hour. You have to be adaptive to the crisis. You have to understand the criticality of the crisis. You have to understand the difficulty arising from the crisis, yet you have to be open towards finding a solution to it rather than complaining about it. Because you're complaining, or your cumulative complaining of your team in front of the management is not going to solve the problem. The management already has a lot of problem to work on. So you should be taking care of your problems in a constructive way with a theory of adaptability, understanding the crisis, understanding the criticality, understanding the depth, and then trying to find out the best solution. If you don't know the solution, you approach somebody who has already gone through it, or who can guide you, or even with the management. If something is not clear to you, you can always approach the management to asking these questions, as this is a situation, we are all together into it. So what is the management's policy, what is the management thinking, and how can I communicate the exact message to my team so that we can be constructive, we can be contributive, and we can be learning all together and riding this curve. Because if you are not riding this curve, you will be at the bottom of the pit and you will not be learning, and again that will give enough scope for you to be signaled out, you to be thought as excess. I again tell you, it is very unethical to be considered somebody to be considered of their performance of or anything during this time of crisis as an excuse to be thrown out of the organization. But if you're not riding the curve, you are obviously going to drown. So be adaptive to the crisis, be open towards learning, be open towards asking questions and knowing what is the correct solution towards this situation. Only then a adaptive approach can be, taken by everyone, with you and your team member, and the team as a whole could be going through this crisis successfully towards a better career move within the organization, outside the organization, or even at your personal level also. So with that note, I would leave you guys tonight, and I would always urge you to think about it. I mean, it's not about the videos being shot, the videos being recorded, and videos going live. If you have any question in your mind, you can always write to us at careercounselingonline at gmail.com. Also, you can visit our LinkedIn group, which is Career Counseling Online, and we have a page, Facebook page, which is Career Counseling Online. You can leave your messages. I will try my best. As I said, if I have the answer on first hand, I'll give you a first hand answer. If I don't have it, promise you, give me 24 hours. I'll get the best answers from the industry's best and get back to you. With that note, I leave you guys tonight. Stay at home, keep safe, and be productive. Take care.